Hey everybody, happy Farland Friday. This is Pat with Farland Classic Restoration, standing out here in a little bit of the snowy flurries here in Denver. Today we'll be walking around the shop. We'll head inside and get into the warmth. Of course, we still have the 1970 Maserati Ghibli SS Spider. A pretty extensive 2.5-year restoration on this one. Get you a good shot here. We'll see what we're working with back here.
That car kind of turned out okay.
Yeah, definitely not a bad one at all. That's our metal master there, giving us a bit of grief on this one. He, of course, built one of the headlight buckets for this car, so we'll go admire that for a moment. Thankfully, we were able to work with one of the original ones, but then ended up making a inverted copy. Make sure this one's looking its best and ready for the concours show. We'll get you one more glimpse of that interior. Again, this was when we were working on the passenger window. It looks like our technician Clint may be working with some of the fuel right now. So this window actually had a chip up in the top of it. We were even able to get this this window re-etched. Let's see if I can get it to focus a little bit for me. But that etching in there is an exact copy of the original that was in this car. Just a little more work on that one. We'll move over to the Hudson Hornet restoration. Again, a nut and bolt restoration, pretty extensive. If you want to see more of this one, you can head over to the site, farlandcars.com, and check out our current projects. You can see we're still waiting on a few things, some trim up front there, and then our painter Jeremy was just showing me one on this that he was working on. So when we first put this trim in, we didn't realize that it was having an issue around this door sill. So here in the very corner of this trim, he actually went back in and did a bit of touch up there, just making sure that one looks factory correct and everything's closing properly. So shut that one back over, do our best not to slam it too much. This is a Maserati Gran Turismo we helped acquire for one of our very great customers here in town. This one actually went down to a company called Mod Finishes down in the Springs. They went through and actually reworked the calipers and resprayed and coated those. So once the calipers were back on, this one came back up here and we got a new set of wheels on it. Just a quick detail, and this one will be heading home. Of course, over here is the 2001 Ferrari 360 Spider in for the front bumper repair. I believe we still have that bumper in primer a little ways back, so we'll get back around to that one, but appreciate some of the Italian fun while we're here. Of course, while we're looking over the Ferraris, we will also mention that this weekend we have sent Jack Farland, our owner, down to the 2022 Cavallino Classic, which is held out in Palm Springs. It is largely considered to be the biggest Ferrari gathering in North America and by far the most prestigious. Totally changing lanes. We've got the electric Porsche 912 from 1966. Of course, the interior is quickly going into this one. Josh and Rihanna are working together to make sure this one's looking great and properly kitted up with that red plaid. We'll also spin around and show you the driver's door card that we've just mocked up. So still a little adjustment there. You can see that plaid's a little loose, but we will be getting that looking straight, looking great. And this classic Porsche will be zipping around soon enough. We also got those front fog lights in there. There was a bit of debate between the technicians as to if we wanted fog lights or if we wanted just caps, but we're thinking the fogs look pretty darn cool down there. Definitely a cool look on this one. Good morning. Doing the live stream this morning, so knocking that one out, yeah. The 1965 Ford Mustang. This one was a single family owner throughout its whole life. Came in as a nut and bolt restoration. Of course, the one owner family helps to make this one a great Farland classic. Other than that, we'll spin into the detailing booths here. Get a quick look over on this one. We have the 1957 Porsche 356 Convertible D that we have our technician Josh working on. We were checking all our documentation this morning and noted that there was an extra hole up there in the dashboard, so we're working through that one now. Again, the Convertible D was a one-year only run, a replacement for the Porsche Speedster in 1957, I want to say. A little over 1,300 of these made during the short one-year run. This one is going to be in ivory over red. We'll leave them to it. Over here, you can see we've got everything sanded and polished for the Ferrari Daytona. Yeah, you can see we're getting everything all masked off. Not 100% sure what this masking is for now. It may just be for the reassembly process, so. And I'll sneak out of here so we don't catch the metal master.
Watch out for the paparazzi.
And then here you can see our awesome technician Delar polishing through that hood there. We'll get a moment here and peek at what he's looking at. A new one into the shop. I want to say it is the W113 280SL. We did post this one over on our Instagram the other day, talking about the originality on this one. Of course, we did note those headlight notches, which run right through here. You can see that little clip in the headlight. That's really the easiest way to note those. But then that line does continue in through the bodywork. So that is a classic signifier of Mercedes W113 chassis originality. This one is a real appreciated example, we'll say. Definitely seen its time. We're going to be doing pretty extensive work on this one. It's actually in for a bit of an engine knock currently, so we'll be getting into mechanicals first and then working on the beauty stuff from there. So this classic color is called Tobacco Brown over a cognac interior. And who can tell me what that light on the dash is for? Standard on all W113s. If you keep an eye as I close the door here, light goes up. All right, from there we'll move into the paint booth. Already. coming in here too? All right, everybody's in here. It's a party.
No paparazzi.
This is the big 280 SE Cabriolet with the 3.5 liter. You can see this one is fresh through media blasting. And we've now taped up a few different spots that we'll be addressing with bodywork. You can see through the door here, through that rear quarter, and then both ends of the hood, kind of all throughout. For now, we're going to be spraying the car down with an epoxy primer. We'll then be able to take this tape and masking off, and that will allow our metal master to get into that bodywork while still knowing that the rest of the body is safe and secure. No worries about rust, anything like that, while we're working on the other stuff. So we'll head out of the booth this way and spin around to the other side. I'm gonna be keeping this stream a little shorter today, just because I've got some meetings to get into this afternoon. But of course, we've got all the cars inside with this Colorado snow we're seeing. Of course, the snowy year started off slow, but now it seems we're getting snow at least once or twice a week. So keeping the cars inside for now. Another one of our W113s. This is a classic red example from 1967, I want to say. We also wrote about this one recently on the blog, comparing this one and the Orient Red 250 SL that we have in. This 280 is going to be seeing a pretty extensive engine bay restoration. You can see we've got the hood already pulled, everything's sort of masked off underneath there. Then we'll be starting to dig into that one. That allows these owners to appreciate their classic, right? We'll finish the restoration of the bay, get this one back to them. That gives them a little time to appreciate the car, and then from there we can talk about if bodywork, paint may be the next step. So the 280 SL in red. W113, one of my favorite chassis here in the shop. Beside that one, of course, we've got the 1966 Polo Red Porsche. And I think I've worked myself into a corner here, so we'll dance our way back down. I believe this Polo Red will be going up for the, the restoration treatment. So you can see that rear end is sitting up real high. We actually have the engine out of it right now. We'll be doing a bit of work on the engine and then getting that one slowly buttoned back together. Very early 66 Porsche 911. Of course, here we have the big Chevy 1-ton pickup from, I want to say 1937. I may be wrong there. Again, all of these are over on our site at farlandcars.com. Another one of our projects. We recently resprayed that hood. You can see that color matching that we're looking at and making sure everything's looking good now. But first time the hood's been back on that one in maybe a month or so. So good to see there. Beside that is the 1968 Porsche 912 Targa. I want to make sure I get my model right here, so I'll be checking all throughout. But yeah, it is the 912. So in 1968 was the last year that the soft window option was available. 68 was actually a overlap year. That year you could get the soft window example or a molded hard window that is much more popular in a style that they used well into the early 80s. So in 1968, being that it was the overlap year, most everyone tended to select the hard window examples. So these soft windows were incredibly rare, already for only being produced for 3 years, but then being that it was an option in 68, they believe only 28 or 30 cars of the 912 left with the soft window in 1968, making this one incredibly rare, incredibly special. Of course, it has that wooden rim steering wheel, which I had heard was only an option in 67, but obviously there was some overlap, and it ended up in the 68. This one came in and was going to be an electric project, but now that we've kind of realized the prestige and historic value of this one, it'll be getting a pretty extensive Farland restoration back to concourse standards and making sure this Porsche is looking just right. '68 was also the first year that the Fuke wheel was available, so kind of a real timepiece here. Great little historical record. We'll try not to get too much in Clint's hair over here as he's working through mechanical stuff, but he is working on the 190 SL in from Mexico, getting that engine ready to go back in, as well as the front suspension. Over here we have the Roadrunner. Again, we've been recently showing off his bodywork over on Instagram. Definitely go check that out to see how our Metal Master goes through and really make sure that these skins are sitting exactly as the factory intended. Even though these skins are produced at the factory, there's still some variance in them. Of course, we still need to fit them up and size them, make sure all our panel gaps are fitting and everything's looking just right. So over here is the 1967 Chevelle SS Convertible 396. You could see that it was in for that rear quarter panel repair. This is again one that we've been posting over on our Instagram. If you want to see more of this car and what that reskinning process looked like, definitely check out our most recent post over there. That one has a few different photos of the removal process. And now that we've been sprayed with the primer, we're looking nice and clean. So, there's some shots from back here. And then admire all these body lines our Metal Master's been so hard at work on. Again, using the original fender on the far side as a guide for us to help us ensure that the body lines match not only from side to side, but matching those angles as they change throughout the body line. Definitely some fantastic work from our Metal Master here. It should even really speak to that in that panel gap there, seeing how consistent that is all the way up and down the body. The 1967 Chevelle 396 SS Convertible in for the quarter panel repair, and we'll be finishing up with that one soon enough once we get paint and everything laid through. You can see we also have those interior panels removed just to give us the room and space to work with that skin. Of course, always doing it the right way here at Farland. The Ls3 Lincoln Continental. You can see it's sitting up a little high, but again, does have that air suspension. We think we may have put that one up high just to keep it out of the snow, keep it clean. So we are working on an engine cover for that one. Our awesome tech Jeremy over in the paint booth has been spraying that one and making something real custom for this customer. So really gonna have the look to cover up that Chevrolet heart in this Lincoln. Over here is a 190 SL that's been in the shop for a little while. Before the car came in, it was kind of tossed together, some are saying. So our new technician, Zach, actually went through this front dash, and you can see that chrome trim that butts up right against the leather there. That chrome trim was actually not even installed when the car came in, and this leather had run up over these vents that run throughout the front of the windshield. So he went through, cleaned up that leather, and then ensured that the trim was laying flat and making sure that those heater channels will work when the windshield goes back in and everything's all back together on this one. So the 190 SL. Very classic, the black over deep tan there. Other than that, we have the Lincoln Continental. Our technician Clint just threw the engine back in. But that's going to do it for us this week. A little bit shorter of a live stream just because we've got some stuff to run off and get to. Of course, if you want to catch any of our other live streams, see what's up in the showroom or what we were up to last week here in the shop, you can check that out over on our Facebook or check out our most recent YouTubes. But that's going to pretty much do it for us today here at Farland. Again, I've been Pat. If you guys have any questions, please give us a call at 303-761-1245 or shoot us an email, info@farlandcars.com. Thanks. You're good.